Nice to see you all. And soul to soul, you are me. I hope 1986 is the year of almost total freedom, if not total freedom. When you get to that place of total freedom, all the struggle is 100% gone. You don't have to work for a living. You don't even have to eat, but you will. You don't have to breathe, but you will. You just sit back, and in that greatest of all states, you'll just watch the world go by, knowing the one and only absolute truth. That which is ever changeless, that which is forever. And it is simply your beingness, which you have right now, but are looking away from. Isn't that simple? Thou art that which thou art seeking. On that point, you've heard me say you have no choice. You're whole, you're complete, you're infinite, you're omnipotent, you're omniscient, and you're omnipresent. And again, on that point, you have no choice. But you do have a choice to look away from it. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and as many years thereafter as you want, wish, desire, prefer. There's nothing you have to do to be this terrific being that you are. You do have to let go of being otherwise, which is simply getting up the devil, the ag flap, and just allowing it out. And when you do that, your mind goes quiet, and you just cannot help but identify with your beingness all the time. So long as you have any ag flap and cap, the mind unconsciously is active 24 hours a day, on guard in order that you might survive. Of course, when you let go of it, the big joke is you have no choice. You are eternal. And you see that this whole thing is just one grand joke that you played upon yourself. I, the infinite beingness, set up my mind, which set up the body, which caused me to forget that I did it, and then I think I am victim of the body, the mind, and everything the mind's creating. I've got a chart here, which I know some of you have seen before. But until you can just remain up here, it bears repeating again and again until all this knowledge is your knowledge. This wonderful great being I was just talking of is the real you. It's simply the experience of I am. If I say to you, are you? And you say yes, I say that's it, with a capital I. Don't do anything else. Just be that. Just be your beingness. But you don't do it because you have programmed in to the computer called mind all these programs that are feelings that motivate all your thinking, that are artificial, unnatural, and should not be there. Everything you're struggling for in life, all this happiness, is right here where I am. Every ounce of joy you have is when you let go of a desire, enough so that the mind goes quiet, so you can just be, and that's the happiness you're feeling. It's not the person who helped you fulfill the desire so your mind could go quiet. It's the quieting of the mind that's the happiness. It's not the thing that you created a lack of and then undid the lack. Your mind went quiet and you felt very happy about it. It was not the thing. It was you quieting your mind so that you could just identify with your beingness. Isn't that simple? Question, why don't you all do it? Want me to answer it?
Stupid, stupid, stupid.
You still... What?
Stupid, stupid, stupid.
More than that. You're just holding on to all the limitation. You're saying, I'm this body. I am this mind. And I am a victim of everything it has created. You're just holding on to that. If you could just totally let go of it, you'd be free. Theoretically, it's possible to go free in an instant. I don't know of anyone who's done it. But you could do it in a matter of months, if you would. The 6 steps, in a matter of months, will take you all the way. The most important step is the first. You've got to want freedom more than you want anything else in the world. The world is totally non-freedom. Someone described it like an oleander flower. Beautiful, but every bit poisonous. Every ounce of pleasure or joy you try to take from this world, you get hurt with. And you do it again and again and again. So stop looking for it where it isn't. Discover what your joy is. It's when your mind goes quiet and you're just being. And from that point, from your beingness point, you could will out all the rest of it. All the power there is in the universe is right at your center when you say I. But you add to it, ay, ay, ay. But when you say I, right there is all the power in the universe. Which is enough power to throw out the totality of the remaining programming feelings. What I'm saying to you is a thing called willpower can be used. And willpower is just using this unlimited power that's yours all the time. It's just using it. And as you have most likely discovered, the more you release, the more you can release, the deeper you can go and pull up heavier garbage. The more you release, the more you accept that you can use this willpower. But through your discrimination, you could put in this will to go free, strong enough to dump the whole thing. If not instantly, in a month or so. I recommend it. So here's the infinite you, all-knowing, all-powerful, and everywhere present. And it's your beingness. And it's the experience, I am. That's all it is. But what you do is you set up a mind which has limitations. And the mind is the saboteur and does all your separating from the oneness of the universe. And in order to do that, it sets up a body and all matter and all other things. So you take the unlimited you. The moment you think, every thought has limitation. The moment you think, you are limiting yourself. The more you think, the more you are limiting yourself. Someday you release the totality of your mind, which includes all the memory. The memory is just on guardness in order to survive. And you let that go. And from there on, you talk from your knowingness only. It's called intuition. And you can talk to anyone on any one subject and help that one advance in his or her subject. And when you experience it, you hear yourself saying things and you say to yourself, wow, that's terrific. You listen to it as it's coming out of you. You've probably experienced some of this already. But there's no memory needed in omniscience. There's no need to think in all-knowingness. The only thing you can do is voice it, if you so choose. This triangle is a spiritual symbol. They usually represent it as God descending down into man. And then the more spiritual ones reverse it this way, and then it's man ascending into God. And the two of them make up the star, the six-sided star, which is a spiritual metaphysical symbol. Now in the free state, your mind goes quiet and you have no thoughts unless necessary. You feed them into your mind and through your mind to others. But when nothing's going on, you have no thoughts. You spend your time being, and it's the nicest thing there is. And that's what feels so good to you when you release and go high. Going high is just being, that's all it is. And there's no thoughts, no feelings. All knowledge is totally available to you. And your mind is totally quiet. But as much as we get this at times, we don't think it's great enough. We hold on to this limited state because it's so familiar to us. Our garbage smells good to us. We're used to it. And we don't want to let go of it. It's familiar. It feels like home. And so we hold on to this limited state with many, many thoughts and feelings. And everything we know is so limited, we can't get the answer to anything. You take every science there is, it's changing all the time. We can't get one single answer that remains. Whatever the science is, it keeps changing all the time. You know of any science that does not change? The science of man himself. You're right, just understanding that you are beingness only, and when you identify with that, there's no more change. When you look at the world, it's just a distant movie out there. A screen, and the screen never changes, but you see those flittering shadows on that screen. But you know, it's the screen that's out there, and it never changes. And that's what happens to this world. You see the world that way. You see the screen of the cosmos on which all these pictures are projected from our minds. But you know, it's just space out there with all these flickerings and dickerings. So with this limited knowing, our mind is very active, and we have moments of pleasure with a constant background of discontent, sorrow, and misery. Those moments of pleasure are when you satisfy a desire and the mind goes quiet. All the rest of the time you got this heavy, real heaviness within all the time. Everyone has it, no matter how successful they are in the world. They feel this heaviness and are seeking a way out of it. And of course, we never ever let go until we get to the top. But if you come this way, you get the ultimate joy, constant with no sorrow, with a sense of total fulfillment all the time, and permanent satisfaction. And don't think permanent satisfaction is a dull state. It's just the opposite. It's the greatest, most fulfilling state there is, total satiation. It's a beautiful resting place. But it is not being a zombie. It is not losing all ambition. It's just the opposite of becoming the all. And when you are the all, you don't have to scratch for it every day. And in the end, you change only in identity and point of view. You identify with your beingness only after that, and your point of view of the world is, as I described before, a moving picture projected way out there on a constant screen called the cosmos, and you're aware that the screen never changes, that the flickerings are just light and shadow, like in a movie, on that permanent screen, which is the real thing, not the light and shadow. And you'll choose to go through life maybe doing what you did before, maybe going into a field of helping others, and maybe of just sitting out the duration of the physical body. And even if you're just sitting out the duration of the physical body, if you're sitting in a cave or on a mountaintop, you're fully projecting to everyone else their infinite beingness and unconsciously supporting them in their going free. So even those who go free and don't become active in life are really helping. In fact, they're helping so much. If it weren't for these few so-called masters, this earth would fly apart. Why? The consciousness of 99% of us is such, it's really destructive. Every ounce of ag flap is destructive. Our ag flap would disconnect all the atoms of this world and it would fly apart. It's only the few free ones who are holding the perfection of everything that hold the atoms together in this world. But as we move up the scale, as the world is doing, as we move into anger, and this is what's happening in the world, we begin to express the anger, and that's what you're seeing. If we could just step over the anger and get into pride, pardon, we wouldn't go through this stage of disrupting everything. I tell you what's going to happen, because you do not need to go through what others will see as destructiveness. We clean up the old through our anger and so forth. We knock out all the props and thereby get the incentive to go within and move up. So what's coming about is a beautiful evolution upward. If you don't go free by then, you're going to make yourself go free. Because you, like happened to me, you have a gun against your head. And the wanting not to be destroyed is incentive enough to make you go all the way so that you can transcend matter. Not only walk on coal, hot coals, but walk also on water, and walk on air, and walk through matter should you need it. By everything being made unsecure, insecure, you'll learn how to release on it so you're master over it. You can walk through fire, you can walk through water, you can walk underwater if you release all the cannots on it. Release the ag-flap. So this is a wonderful thing that's about to happen. Remember to use it to transcend it. It's coming out in bits. It's fire walking and things like that, and you see it on TV, these yogis. I saw one with an elephant standing on his chest. Now the ribs can't take the weight of an elephant. I saw them on nails, and somebody sitting on top. I once saw them put a man, he was an Indian, from India, on a bed of nails, a big heavy chunk of concrete on top of him, and another man with a sledgehammer broke the concrete right on him. When he got up, he had no marks from the nails, from the spikes. These things are beginning to come in because we will need to transcend them in the not too distant future. By the end of the century, which is only, 14 years, the whole thing will be cleaned out, all the old, and we will start the new way of life, where we all look at each other with you are me. We are all one. It'll be a beautiful, harmonious way of life. It'll be heavenly compared to the way it is now. But once you get there, you're still not home, so there'll be things bothering you, but not nearly like they are now. We're in a constant state of being battered all the time. It's only our thoughts, of course. When we get there, we stop attacking nature, destroying it, and so forth. We get in tune with it, and everything comes our way with ease. We are fully aware of the beingness part of us, which most of the world calls the God part of us, and we move in that direction consciously, but far more slowly than you're moving now. Because when there's a fire behind you, you're going to move much faster. And that's what we have behind us now. There's a fire behind us, driving us. So take advantage of the heaviness of this world. Release it until there is no heaviness. Now when you're released, you'll see no heaviness in this world. You'll see nothing but beautiful harmony all the time. Everything that formerly looked bad was just the right thing that was needed to do something to that person to make them move in the right direction. So even as heavy as this world looks, when you are released, it looks harmonious to you. And it really is. But in the next phase, it'll be harmonious to every one of us. Now, if we choose to move up and get into nicer worlds, it could take hundreds and hundreds of millions of years for us to, when we get here, to move up to here. The higher you go, the less the incentive seems to impel you to move out of your boundaries. When you live here, it feels good. Because whatever you think happens. But still, it's limitation. It'll never satisfy. You'll spend your life mostly seeking God, the all, the one, whatever you call the ultimate. We call it freedom. And you can spend eons here. But it's a much easier, nicer way of living. You suffer far less, but when you do, it's very intense. But you don't stay in it. You can easily step out of it, push it down. But it'll always prod you toward going up to here. So from your omnipresence, you can see your body like you now see all other bodies. Your body becomes objective to you, whereas now you're very subject to the body. So you'll see your body as one of the puppets out there, like everyone else's body. But you don't go out of the body. You cut the limitations of being a body and you recognize your omnipresence. Right now you are everywhere present in this universe. You've got no choice on that except to look away from it, and that's what you're doing. So when you move into omnipresence, you could sit here and see the whole town of Sedona. You could also at the same time see Phoenix, and at the same time see every city all the way to New York, and see everything that's going on everywhere, because your omnipresence is at every point. I have recommended to some of you to read the autobiography of a yogi because it talks about these things. Yogananda went through these experiences and talks about them. The way he described it, when you let go, you're center everywhere, circumference nowhere. So if you're centered everywhere, you see everything at the same time. You're not centered right through tubes here. There are no limitations except those that we impose on ourselves. So if you want to know what it's like, let go of all limitations and you'll see. Ag flap is all destructive. Every bit of ag flap is destructive. And why don't we go around punching everybody? We'll get destroyed. So we suppress our destructiveness. The majority of the world rides in apathy, grief, and fear. 95% of the world. 5% gets up into lust, up into courageousness. That's the 5% that rules and runs the world. A tiny, tiny fraction of 1% will get up into peace. So if you say why, it's because we have overwhelmed ourselves with all this garbage. This world is a unique place in that we have more garbage than most other worlds. But That's good. You wouldn't be here otherwise, looking for a way out. Your attention is 24 hours a day on that body. It's AgFlap. Every feeling is a pro-survival feeling. Have you seen that? More. More than 24 hours a day, you're on guard in order to survive. Your mind is never, ever quiet when you're trying to survive. Life or death all the time. But we don't look at it. We call it unconscious or subconscious. But every feeling is pro-survival. As you move up, you let go of attachment to this body. The importance of keeping the body surviving lets up, and you dwell more in the mind state. Now remember, you're in all those states right now, spending most of your awareness on the body. Really, the bottom line is the fear of dying. And when the feelings come up, release them until there are no more. I warn you, though, if you get overwhelmed, release unapproval and control until you're able to confront your fear of dying. But it is a help in bringing up the fear of dying if you visualize yourself falling off a cliff, crashing in an airplane, walking in front of a truck, getting hit by a train, in the head with a meteor. Halley's Comet is coming close. But you can go through these things. If you're able to use it, it'll help you get rid of big chunks of garbage. If you say there's karma, there is karma. And as we set it up, it's action and reaction. You can't work it out. What's working it out is creating karma for the future. You can get above it, see that it's nothing but my mind out there, and let it go. You transcend karma, you don't work it out. Karma is taking the dictates of your AgFlap. That's another way of putting it. Your AgFlap dictates all your thinking. Your thinking dictates all your action. No? I don't know, I'm close to a psychologist. You agree to say, this is my mother, this is my father, this is my sister, and this is my brother, and I am obligated to them because of that. And they say the same thing with you. See, when you get free, you have no attachments to your family any more than you have to anyone else. See, holding someone in the mind so intently will bring you to that someone next time around. It can be love, it can be hate. We relate through love only. We are projecting our minds out, seeing the world as we see it, and no one else sees it the way you see it. You think they do. But if you want to be with them because you're supposed to be with them, or because Mama's demanding it, that's not mutual. Mama needs to release us too. The birds know that. They push their young out of the nest.
We don't have a strong responsibility to brothers and sisters.
Right. Any more than you have to anyone else. You should love them purely. Want them to have what they want. Now have illusions of 93 Rolls Royces. Enjoy his having 93 Rolls Royces.
But in that, there's also some kind of talk about going free and evolving. And
Talk.
Okay.
You got the right word. It's
Okay.
talk about it.
I guess my question is, it's about the discrimination of, who's putting stuff out there in the world. I mean, that's worth listening to. And I know that you release and you discriminate on it, but I don't know. I just I have some. I'm not even sure what the question is in there, but
It's a good question. You're asking me.
I'm asking you, how do you know?
Hey.
How do you know who's got the good stuff?
I know, you've got it. Not Rajneesh, you've got it. He wants to exploit people. You're higher than Rajneesh. Would you do what he did? Someone wrote a book. If you meet your guru on a path, kill him. If you want to go free, you got to do that. If you want help and support that helps you remain crippled, you look for a guru, a master. But you are the master. I'm just a baiter.
Well, it's interesting. When I read, for instance, that it's like from a place.
All right, I'll answer your question.
Yeah, right.
You can tell a master by his equal-mindedness. You stop looking up to them. They're the same as anyone and everyone. Everyone turns out to be beingness only. They have less attachments and aversions than the average person. They have less ag flap than the average person.
Someone like Jesus?
They're called masters. They've mastered matter. They've mastered their bodies. They have consciously let go of their bodies in whatever manner they did it. They usually do it to help others get some understanding. You're in your subtle body. The body you use in dream is your subtle body. It's your mind, not physical part of you. Whatever you think is in dream, the more you help you, the more you help others unconsciously. But if you love them, you'll let them have what they want.
I have this last question, Lester. Should I just let go of one and figure out what that was?
Yeah. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
All
And
right.
that swing is up to get out of your thoughts.
Okay. All right.
We want to transcend the thinking realm. You've heard me say again and again, thinking is thinking. Every thought has limitation that we impose upon ourselves. When you're in your highest state, you're not thinking. You're just being. You've experienced it. Remain there. Or release the ag flap so that you can remain there. After which the world becomes totally effortless. Totally effortless. All effort originates in the mind. Beyond mind, it's effortless. When you're so determined, you can go free. The basic philosophy. But I resolved that I wanted the totality of the good. If you do that, you let go of all the bad, all the
But you
limitations.
have to believe that's so. first
Not
of
believe
all.
it, decide so. Will it. Will it to be. Okay, every down to me was a wonderful opportunity to go up. You people look at downs and you hang on to the downs. But every down is a marvelous opportunity to go up. I only know that which I can do, not say. It's another one that helps me. I discovered how much we kid ourselves. If I could do it, then I knew I had it.
Just say that again, please.
I only know that which I can do, not that which I say. But do you realize what every down is an opportunity to go up would do for you if you approached every down that way? You just release every down.
Like a friend.
And the first thing is step number one. You've got to want it more than you want anything else in the world. That'll really take you through all the other steps very quickly. Everyone has exactly what he or she wants. If you like what you have, if you don't, release it.